You came to meet Crystal. The Crystal Tease show is now on the air. We'll explain more about that later in just a moment. Right now, if you're wondering, this is Narc Abuse TV network that you stumbled upon. We are going live. We do narcissism, relationships, and recovery. Today, it's our guest, Crystal. You can find her on Instagram at Crystal Nicole Black. But right now, she's here with us. 72 hours, 3 days of shows, 17 individuals. Started yesterday. Today is day 2. 2 shows for you today. Crystal first, and then we have a show about divorce and attachment styles. Saturday, we will be ending our second season with 4 shows. 4 live shows right here on YouTube Live. Enough about that. Let's do this. Here comes Crystal.
Coming at ya. Coming at ya.
Look at you coming in 3D full effect.
I
There
know.
it is.
More like 4D, 5D. What's the highest D everyone talks about? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Probably 4D.
You know, we did this on Instagram. It was the last show that I did live on Instagram, and people loved it. They went crazy when you came on and took over.
You're hilarious.
I'm
Black.
just saying, man. You just like totally came over and took over. What is there about you that you could pinpoint that makes you this high caliber guest for podcasts? Is it your humility?
Very good question, Paxton. That might be the hardest question you've ever asked me.
It took me 4 days.
Humility, that's a good one. Definitely, I have eaten some humble pie plenty of times, and I love pie.
You love pie.
But it's probably that, and just being real, keeping it real, son.
Yes, you keep it real in the neighborhood, and that's why a number of people asked me. They said on Instagram where our home was initially, and we will still go back there. But now we're here on YouTube. A number of people asked me on Instagram, when are you going to bring her back? She was funny. I really enjoyed it, and I learned so much. And then I said, who are you talking about?
Who dat? I'd rather be funny than funny looking. So thanks.
Oh no, you're doing really well in both departments. But I have to say, you fit in. I wish I could get all of my guests and just have one big thing and have everybody come together, because a big point of reference for all of my guests, they're funny, they're encouraging, they're informative, and they're positive. So you fit right in with everyone else. I truly appreciate that. But you sent me a couple of things that you wanted to talk about, and instead of doing it on Instagram, I said, well, hey, let's just do it as a part of our closing days here on our second season here on YouTube. So let's get right to it because, low budget show. We're not really spectacular in a lot of stuff.
Low budget, high quality.
That's right. High quality in the neighborhood. That's right. We're like a liquor store in the ghetto. So anyhow, here we go. Ready? All right. First thing up on the screen. Let's see here. I'm going to play with some. Let's do this.
Why?
Can you see that there? I don't know.
I can.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm just messing around with stuff here, pushing buttons. Okay. Here we go.
Make it bigger on my screen because I'm getting old. No,
it must be rough being
I'm getting
19. Yeah, get 19.
I'm Benjamin Button in life, just going backwards.
That's right. That's right. I think the thread's losing on your button there. It's starting to slip off. Okay, so we got about narcissists here. Why codependent narcissist relationships are a toxic fit. Now, this is coming from, you sent me this from, what's his name here? Narc Abuse Coach.
Oh, yeah. There's
from the Narc
so many
Abuse
good
Coach.
ones.
Yeah, so this is something that caught your eye. Let's talk about it. The first box there, you got, why don't you go ahead and read it to us? They enjoyed you doing that the last show we did. Go ahead.
I can read. That's good. So on one side, you have the narcissist has a neurotic need to take and exploit others to keep feeding the false sense of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, codependent, that'd be me. That was
Ooh.
has a neurotic need to give and self-sacrifice to gain approval and affection.
Hmm.
I know that
Uh-oh.
very well.
Well, really, how, before we go any further, for
Yeah.
those who have never met you before, how is it
Mhm.
possible that you know about this?
Well, I have been reading and learning a lot, thank God. So all of like what we're doing right now, I've watched and read and learned so much. So I have a big thank you to everybody who's been spreading the word and the education, the awareness all of these
Yeah,
years about this, because without it, I wouldn't be here today. And without you
really.
just talking about this openly. So thank God.
Oh man.
So reading and being willing to be aware and kind of acknowledge when you
Hmm.
feel pain throughout life. I think it's just acknowledging, okay, why am I feeling this pain? What's going on? And just starting to break everything down. And I got to that point where it became so painful emotionally, like inside of myself. I started learning about this and going, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. And the light bulbs were going off. It's like epiphanies, right?
Has that been kind of the pattern that you were experiencing for quite a while, or
Yeah.
only in that particular relationship?
No, like as long as I can remember. So it's
Wow.
been really eye opening for me to go all the way back when my memory started at 5 or 6 years old, and that people pleasing dynamic started within my family and just with my parents and the people pleasing. And my parents were old school, so it's like, I was raised very Christian and very like with that like behavior. You gotta behave and you're gonna people please to your parents and to everybody else, and they're gonna whip you in line, quite literally sometimes.
L- you pretty much didn't recognize what you were experiencing till you got older, or in other words, while you were in a relationship.
Yeah, I don't think I started learning a little bit about this when I was in my early 20s to mid to late 20s, and I got married very young. I settled down very young. Um, and I think I separated when I was like 28. I think we divorced when I was 30. So I did all of that real early, and it took me many years to kind of take one step at a time.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, over the past like 5 to 7 years, I started acknowledging more and then diving deep into a real narcissistic relationship the last 2 years.
Oh.
Just did it in for me to go, oh Lord, oh Lordy.
What you stepped into. Hey, I
Yeah.
have to give some love out to Dr. Marnie Hill. Uh, if everyone please, for those who will watch this back, and I know there's been great feedback here on YouTube. Some of you have been so welcoming and loving to us now that we moved over from Instagram. Please go out and get Marnie's book, her books. Let me put it that way, and look forward to seeing her soon. Of course, you can find her here as well as on her website. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm not gonna. I was gonna filter it, but Marnie, I'm gonna throw this out to you. Hopefully, you're still here with us. If not, you'll hear this back later if you watch it. I'm gonna reach out to you, Marnie, because I think you and Crystal, and I've got a couple of other people. We should do a show together sometime in January or February, or
And we're
into
both
our show.
blonde.
And she's a wonderful woman. But I just wanted to say that real quick. You went through your codependent experience
Oh, my life. Yeah, my whole life.
all your life. What words of advice do you give to codependents who may not know they're codependents?
I think it's better to learn and acknowledge it earlier on and be real with yourself, because you're only hurting yourself in the long run without being true to yourself. Just don't lie to yourself. Educate yourself. Read about it. Learn about it. Even if you think, oh, that's not me. That ain't me. Go ahead, pick it up. Just read about it. I've actually been able to, because I am being real about it, I've been able to talk to some people I know and some friends
Yeah,
and some acquaintances
yeah,
and even help them, because I'm putting myself like, oh, I don't know everything, but here's my experience. And some people, oh my God, I think I'm codependent. I didn't know that. And they're getting older and they didn't find this out until their 40s, 50s, 60s. A couple of them I was talking to. I have all different kinds of friends, right?
right, right.
And all ages, all backgrounds.
Yeah,
And so I was so happy to hear a few of them admit that as I was sharing about this. Because I knew a few of them were like in the back of my head. I'm like, I'll never say that. But hopefully, maybe they'll learn. Because let's be honest, when you get to certain age groups, like this information wasn't available. Like the internet was not available. Some, You know what I mean? And now we're on here learning about all this. It just wasn't around.
Now you have a son.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't want him to walk the path you have and end up being with a woman that would take advantage of him. But when you asked me to use this posting and do a show together, what was it about this other side, the narcissist side? What are some things there that you know you want to make sure to protect your son from?
Oh God, that's such a good question. Such a good question, because, well, my son in particular, I can't speak for everybody's children, but he has an amazing heart, and he has such a
Wow.
sweet heart, giving
Yeah.
spirit. He wants to bless other people and make them feel loved and special. He goes out of his way. He even did that today at
Hmm.
school and wrote their janitor a special Christmas note and gave him a special gift and put it in his mailbox. I'm talking like this kid is the sweetest,
Sweetheart. Huh?
bless everybody kind of kid, right? And
Wonder where you got that from. Anyhow, go ahead.
indirectly, hopefully.
You're so humble. Okay, go ahead.
I think when you have a sweetheart and you're a giving person and you're really good at loving other people and being
Mm-hmm.
kind and yeah, I have had to reel him in a couple of times. I've caught him a couple of times, and we've had some real conversations, even with his school friends. I'm like, hey, you know what? That one friend of yours, yeah, I like your friends. They're cool, but some are not going to be ones you want to hold too close. Some are going to be more like this kind
Yeah.
of school friend. Keep him at an arm's length. And here's why. This friend of yours has some manipulative qualities that I've
Yeah.
noted. And he's like, what? And we start talking about it, breaking it down. He's like, you're right. And he started admitting it. And we started talking about, like, that's just one example of something recent where I'm like, in age appropriate or kid appropriate language, like breaking it down and giving him examples, like behaviors to watch out for, things that they're saying, making jokes, and then him being included in some of the butt of those jokes and him laughing about, because he wants to make everyone laugh.
Right.
Wonder where he got that from.
Yeah.
Trauma response. Sometimes it's like, it's part of my personality, but it's also like a trauma response as well, to keep everybody smiling and laughing. But it is part of me. So it's kind of hard to see where that line goes. Like, where does that line blur? And he's the same way. Sometimes I'll just reel him in. I'll be like, hey, it's all right. Like, we don't have to be laughing all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we sit there and cry and hold each other and just, and then smile and laugh later.
And you have such great pictures on your Instagram page of you and him together, even your latest postings. Tell everyone your Instagram page, even though it is scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
At Crystal Nicole Black. That is my birth given real name.
Your birth, yeah, not your witness protection name
No.
that you use. No,
I was born a small white child in Atlanta, Georgia, December 27th.
I have the same experience. So I was born. Okay. So anyhow, now, taker giver dynamic. You've experienced that. Your advice when it comes to the blame shifter acceptor dynamic. Why don't you read that for us?
Yeah. So that one on the narcissist side, it says that they think they're infallible. Therefore, it's always someone else's fault every time. Don't ever forget it. Because sometimes I would think, well, sometimes it, you know, it can't be like that every time. No, every time.
Every time.
Even when it doesn't make any sense, even if you have proof or evidence of anything, it really doesn't matter. It's your fault.
No. So you're telling me you took the blame for certain things that were not your fault, and you convinced yourself that it was?
A lot of the time, yeah. Especially when on the other side you're reading, oh, the codependent takes the blame. They're self-critical. They think they're bad a lot of the time inherently, right? That I must be the one that's wrong because you're too good of a person almost sometimes in a way, thinking, well, I must be the one that's wrong because there's no reason, or why would they do this to me or be saying this, or it doesn't make sense. And it's like, no, some people are really pathologically just not right. When you're dealing with a pathological issue, like pathological liar, narcissist, then you're done. Like, of course, it's not going to make sense.
But that was never a part of your upbringing to look at people that way, huh? You didn't see that there were people pathologically inclined to be destructive, manipulative, and deceivers.
No. Well, I did in a way, I guess, because my upbringing is Christian, is religious. It's like, yes, we're all inherently bad, right? Because we're all sinful. But with Jesus, and like that's how I was raised and
Right.
how
Uh huh. Uh huh.
I lived the first part of my life. And now just learning more of the nuances, more of the grays, and all the different colors that we as humans have in this life and all the different kinds of people. It's not just always black or white. But I did grow up with that black and white thinking, which is what the narcissist has. Very black and white, very
Mm-hmm.
right or wrong, but they're
Mm-hmm.
just always the one that's right.
Wow.
So everyone else has to be wrong. That's just the switch there.
So some young friend of yours or older friend of yours comes to you and says that they feel that they're a giver, that they want to accept to see if there's blame that they need to take on, and they feel they're they're empathic and they just want to get along. You're going to tell them about people who out there who are takers, blame shifters, and have no and are apathetic and have no empathy.
Yeah, it's all in the actions, right? It's all in the behavior because as I've learned, as we've all learned, it's not in what is said because they can talk in circles, whether they're a narcissist or whether they're simply just a more toxic, manipulative person. So from one end of the spectrum to the middle to the other, it's this whole thing, right? But
Hmm.
it's not what they say because of course they're going to bend their words and twist everything around of what you're saying and throw it back and gaslight and deny and blame and shift and lie and all of those things because
Hmm.
they're just in it for them. They're unable, unfortunately, blocked, meant to wear your shoes and sit in your seat and care.
So
Unfortunately,
when you were experiencing that in a relationship, do you feel that you stopped becoming a giver and you've lost your empathy because of dealing with someone like that?
so I was reading about that because a lot of people were like, oh, how am I ever going to fall in love again or be in a relationship at all or date anyone? I'm not going to be able to do any of these things. Even with their friends, they're like, oh, I'm being paranoid. And I think I went through that in a very short amount of time. It was very post traumatic symptoms, like really bad ones, like really
Wow.
bad memory
Really?
glitches, like totally blanking out on tons of stuff, lots of brain fog, short term memory loss, working memory problems. It was such a flurry for a short amount of time
Hmm.
that I think I went through all the hard stuff in that short amount of time. And then I was able to kind of bounce out of it and start making action steps coming out and finding myself again and going, oh, I'm still here. Oh, thank God. Like I didn't lose
Right on.
myself because
Now,
it's scary.
when you started bouncing out of that, for
Yeah.
someone who is just now starting to Google narcissism, toxic relationships, and so forth, uh, describe for someone just beginning their journey. When you say you bounced out of that, what did that taste like, smell like, seem like? What was that? What was that like? What did you do? What were some of the things that you did that you knew that you were on the bounce back
Yeah.
for what
Making
was good?
faces like,
Man,
oh, God.
okay, I was gonna save that for last. I was gonna save it, but you brought it up. Yeah, making faces.
Those are just a couple faces.
Did that help you? Making faces, was that your thing?
Oh, I think I've always done that. And my son, I look at him, he looks like a male version of me. I swear to God. Like
He
he
makes faces.
makes
I've seen your
all the
postings.
faces.
Yes,
Yeah.
you,
I don't
you're
even share all of them.
yeah,
No.
you're some face making family, man. I tell you, you guys make faces. It's like, so what was the bounce back like? What are some of the things that started happening that you knew that you still had you intact? At least you found yourself again.
I was like, thank God. Like, it is scary when you don't recognize yourself. Like, from physically, I looked in the mirror, to my head, the way my brain was working and feeling, and my emotions, everything
Hmm.
was feeling foreign and scary and bad. And then it freaks you out more, right? You're like, ah. So I took a lot of time to myself. I did isolate myself a little bit because I was having
Hmm.
trouble showing up everywhere. Like I was still working through this, and I
Yeah.
literally had to like tell my boss at the time and reach out and be like, "Hey, I need to work from home some. I need to do this because literally like I am going through, and she kind of probably had a little taste because I had told her a couple things without getting too personal.
You told her a few things. Okay.
Not personal, but just kind of like, I had to even use the word PTSD. Like I had to use that term because I don't think she understood, you know,
what you were going through.
Yeah, like the intensity of it.
Okay.
And I can do my job. Like I can do it. It's just the way I was showing up. I looked so bad. Like I didn't look like me. Like I'm not saying I always look good, but you know what I mean. Like
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like not like this. Like I look more like myself right now.
You didn't recognize who you were while you were going through it or getting away from it, but you recognize who you are now.
Yeah, even though I can feel the residual, like I'm not quite the same. And I'm not afraid to admit that. And I openly share, I am not quite the same. I have some nervousness to me. I have more hyperactivity. I have some more symptoms that are coming out even more so. But it's not as bad as like, going through the thick of it.
Right.
And my health is getting better because I'm eating better and I'm doing all, those exercising.
That's actually the next thing I was about to ask you about.
Yeah.
The health part, the physical part, how you feel physically was affected by being in this type of a relationship with a taker, with a person who is not empathetic. A narcissistic, toxic relationship had a profound effect on you physically, and just your desire to do things physically is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with the whole I love it when people say, I'll be honest. I'm like, the whole time you're lying and now you're honest. It's just fun to say for me.
You're funny. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Speak your truth, girl. Go on, preach it.
Nothing but the truth. I got truth serum just dripping out my arm right here. Give me the.
Put that needle down. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Don't worry.
You're gonna say.
Like, it's pretty wild because in the middle of it, I'm in this relationship, and you would think I'd be falling apart in the middle of the relationship, keeping all the balls juggling and everything going.
Right.
But you're so into that trauma bond, or I was, that the drug is working. It's a drug. It's working. You're happy. Because you're in it and it's working. And then when they devalue you or you're breaking up with them, like what I was going through, whatever, it was both give and take and push and pull and push down, get up. Then it becomes harder because you're bringing your truth out, and the narcissist doesn't want nothing to do with your truth or the truth at all. It's all about their truth and nothing but their truth. So help them, God. That's it. That's it. So
there was nothing that you could say or do that could make him more interested in your heart. It was almost as if you didn't have a heart.
No, and it was so heartbreaking. I broke my own heart realizing that in the end. I just broke my own heart and it shattered. And I have to realize later, it wasn't even him. It was me breaking my own heart. That self-betrayal we've talked about before with these guys and with some other groups. It's like, and you come out of that drug and you start dripping into the truth over here instead of dripping into their truth. And it's like, wow, no wonder I'm falling on my face, because that's what was keeping me going, because I was getting that drug. And now I'm stepping back and I have unplugged this drug drip, right? And I'm looking at the truth, and you become so weak. It's like that drug kept you going, and now you fall on your face. And you need help.
So I have to ask this. 3 things that when you sent me this, this caught my eye. 3 things. I'm going to say them to you right now and tell me what you think. In the codependent side, a person begins to be self-sacrificing to gain approval and affection. That's one. The second thing, the person in the shifter acceptor dynamic, they start to take the blame, right? Highly self-critical. The third thing, in that last part, in that dynamic, the person ignores feelings and emotions that they have, almost as if their emotions don't matter. Those are 3 different aspects. Pick which one you want to and talk about it as if you're talking to someone just beginning their journey of understanding what they're going through in a toxic relationship.
Oh, wow. I think I'll pick that third one, ignoring feelings and emotions because they don't matter. You know, you're so giving and loving and you're so focused on this other person
Yep.
that have you asked yourself lately, how do you feel? What are you thinking? Like, what's going on with you? Let's put them aside for a second and really talk about you. And then you'll see somebody get real uncomfortable or really like when they're in the thick of that, right? Because they've pushed it down so much. And
they get antsy, sarcastic, trying to be funny. They get real quiet. A number of things start happening.
Right? Yeah, like that. I'm sure. Yeah, you've seen that, and I've seen somebody get mad pretty quickly too.
Oh yeah, that too. They'll get upset. Yeah. And
I'm like, oh, interesting. Like I don't understand that relationship dynamic. Like I don't understand, right? Like theirs is different, and I relate to that, and that's when I'm like, I put my humble pie out. I'm like, you know what? I totally get it because I've done the same thing. Like, oh yeah, you guys in those toxic narcissistic relationships over here, but mine's different and here's why. Like I'm special in my situation, this person's special and here's why. Like, because you keep telling yourself that, even though the behavior and the actions keep speaking for themselves, right? Yeah. It sucks. I was thinking about that today. I actually wanted to talk about that just for a second. Is like, that's a lot of times where I've gone wrong. It sounds weird because I thought I was so confident in a way because I was always like, well, I'm the bomb.com. Of course they want to be with me, right? Like I'm so cool and loving and like, right? Because I am. But if you get too cocky and too confident thinking that because you know you're that, people see that because you keep giving that so much that you're not even like a real human being. You're like a superhuman.
Right.
And nobody's like that. Nobody can be like that. It's not sustainable. So when you're like that, people, grab onto that. And it's like a toxic, narcissistic person is going to be drawn to that. So you think you're too awesome and you don't hold back and like tone it down a little bit sometime and you're giving too much and you're oversharing. I am so guilty. That is one of my traumas is oversharing.
How did oversharing get you in trouble?
It's
with a narcissist?
In trouble.
Well, we're not gonna go there today. We don't have enough time. But how is oversharing with a narcissist? Yeah. Don't make me scold you in front of everybody. I told you, stop oversharing with people you don't know. Ain't got no business knowing stuff. Okay, go ahead.
And it's not what we're doing right here. Obviously, we have a purpose.
No, I know.
We're doing it for a reason. And I'm not like, there are certain things I don't share, thank God.
But with a narcissist, when dealing with someone who is out to destroy you, manipulate you, deceive you, take from you, a self-absorbed person who has a secret agenda and is not being truthful.
Yeah.
Oversharing gets you in big trouble, right?
Yeah. Everything that you say and do can and will be used against you in a court of law. And that is in that law of the narcissist. That is their courtroom. It's just like your Miranda rights, all right? Just like you getting arrested right here.
Yeah.
And whether they're recording or not, their brain, their memory, whatever, it's like it's going to remember it and it's going to throw it back at you and twist and turn and use whatever you just shared because it happened to me. And I know I've heard it from everybody that's gone through this. I thought I was sharing and relating to something that they shared with me because we had some similar things happen in our background where we made mistakes or we learned from this. And he would share that and I'd be like, oh, I feel open to share now that you shared that because we experienced the same thing and I'm understanding and relating and all of that. And I thought it's bringing us the intimacy and closeness.
You thought you were binding your hearts with someone.
Yeah.
He was about to bind you up.
I understand.
You understand. And
like you want to make them feel better, right? Like, oh, I understand.
Was that your norm? Was that your norm with people when you met people? You just wanted to make them feel better?
No, you know what? I used to be smarter when I was younger.
You used to be smarter. That should be a t-shirt. That should be a t-shirt. You should make that a part of your merch line. That
I'm doing
according to
everything
Crystal
backwards.
Tease, according to Crystal Tease on
It's
YouTube, that
true.
should be it. So why do you say that?
Because I learned how to be more controlled when I was younger, the way I was brought up and the way I had to operate at church and at school and at home. And so I learned how to control and push down and mask and suppress and repress emotions and stuff. So I could say, on one hand, uh, yeah, I learned over time how to open up as I got to be an adult. And I did acting and I did all these things that help open me up. I had my child. I did, and it kind of helped me go, oh, let me be real. Let me be honest. Let me
Fly
share.
in the wind. Let me fly
Yeah,
in the wind and be
let me
free.
let me be free like a bird. And if you go, and I'm too extreme sometimes, like a lot of us out here, one extreme to the next, I went boom, and I just needed to kind of correct it a little bit in the middle here, like to
Yeah,
this end, instead of go, because people will take advantage of it. People see it, they get the wrong idea sometimes. I have
yeah.
been so misunderstood, just being too real to myself. Sometimes
Hmm.
people think I'm flirting with them and I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
being myself.
Hmm.
That happens. That's happened to me a lot.
You
Um,
you're just being happy, huh? You're just being happy, and they think you want to be in their
happy
home or
with
go
them.
home with them. Yeah, be happy with
Happy
them.
with them back at their
No,
place.
wait. Okay, so now nothing we plan to talk about. Those postings we were going to talk about, but I am going to ask you. So,
Yeah.
what is it like being a woman who has survived narcissistic abuse and traits and a relationship, and now you're just happy? What is it like for you now trying to wake up every day? Is it a land you're looking at different people as landmines and trying to avoid them because you don't know where the next narc is around the corner?
I'm like, dun, 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 dun.
You like Mission Impossible music?
That would be awesome. We should do
Uh,
it. We'll do a video like that.
yeah, you should. You should do one and post it on your
That's a
YouTube.
good
You should do
idea.
that. Yeah. Trying
Thank
to
you.
avoid the narc with Mission Impossible music.
That's such a good idea. Okay. Sounds like fun. Yeah, there's been definitely days like that and weeks where I'm a lot more cautious, or somebody will say something or something will happen to where like my little antennas are standing up and some
Yeah.
a little more, but then I'll put my guard down again because somebody will, like, whether it's a friend or
Okay.
a new person over here, my family member, or a new opportunity, whatever it is, will something will make me put my guard down more and I'll get more comfortable, and then I won't be as much like that. But I still think it's important for me to not put it all the way down, because I
Yeah.
have made that mistake still, even a couple times, being more healthy, and I'm like, dang it, why did I get too comfortable?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I get too I'm so feelings oriented, and a lot of
Mhm.
empathetic or codependent people, or I could go down the list with a lot of other descriptors. Just so feelings oriented, just feel it
Right.
so intensely that I can't get too comfortable and put my guard all the way down, because it does hurt sometimes, like, unless I know I'm in a really safe place, and I do have those places, thank God. And I think it's
Yeah.
important for everybody. That's another thing I think I would give a word of advice. Just find
Mhm.
somebody, whether it's a really close friend, just a kindred spirit, even if it's through a group, even if it's somebody maybe you've never even met in person. Maybe you don't have anybody in your family or in your circle like that, but you get in one of these narcissistic groups for abuse recovery, or you find some kind of group, or through a
Yeah.
therapy group, something to where you can really open up and, like, be yourself and just share it, because that connection is important,
Yeah.
and that vulnerability.
There were so many millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, who wrote to me concerning you because they could connect with you. So you have a way of describing your heart and what you've gone through that connects with people, and I appreciate you doing this today. I know you're a very busy woman that I have to weeks in advance have to get you to be a part of this, but I wanted you to be a part of the 3 days of narcissism and relationships and recovery that we're doing here. Part of the 72 hours of talking about this. But I got to put up the next posting because I want you to let loose on this posting. And you, the one that came up with the posting, it wasn't me. So I want to put it up there, and then I want you to talk about it. Okay? Are you ready? Signs a narcissist is preparing to
Ooh.
discard you. When you sent me this one, I went like, okay, we're doing a show for sure. This is really good. I like this. This. A lot of people talk about this, the
Yeah,
discard from a narcissist. So tell me from, I don't want to say from experience. Let's do this. Tell me from your perspective,
that's good.
what's your advice? Let's just make this the Crystal Tease advice hour. Why Crystal Tease, by the way, you may be asking if you're watching this. It's because that is the name of her YouTube channel, Crystal Tease. You're going to be able to go over there and see a number of things in regards to relationships, advice on narcissism, personal experience.
Yeah,
You'll see a number of things that you're doing, right? You're doing a number of different things, interviewing, hopefully in the future, actors and actresses, other things, different things you'll be doing.
it'll
So
be super fun. There's a curtain right now, so it's like behind the curtain, and then it's
behind
gonna
the
go
curtain,
up, and it'll go down, and that's the tease. It's the Christmas like, wait, what's happening?
I like it. I like it. Great idea. Great idea. Now, when it comes to the discard, what's the advice, Crystal?
You know what? This is from my perspective because certain terms and keywords, I think people can prejudge and go, oh, well, that's not me. Oh, they didn't have an affair. They didn't cheat on me. So, no. Because I've done that. And I've had to read this stuff a million times before I really got it. And so, from my perspective, I think it's really important to read all of these examples, all of the behaviors, all the possibilities before you go, oh, they're cheating on you or they had an affair. And you're like, oh, that ain't me. Oh, they're not just like, I'm okay. Like, no, I had to go back. And I will tell you from my perspective, from my experience, I was being devalued and almost like what they call the forced discard, where they're making you discard them. Like a lot of dudes out here, even if they're not narcissists, they'll play this mind game with you and treat you like crap or ignore you or whatever the thing is, and then make you break up with them. That is the oldest trick in the book, and that is part of this for the narcissists, where they are doing these things and these behaviors to kind of force you to be the bad guy, so they can blame it on you later and talk bad about you and throw. All I'm doing is loving you and being here for you, and now look, you're breaking up with me.
You're breaking up with me, but
that happened to me.
Let me make sure. Okay. This,
I'll tell you that.
You're saying something here that a lot of people are going to do just what you said. They're going to have a hard time absorbing this because they don't recognize the toxic person, the abusive person is the narcissistic person is trying to get that other individual to do something wrong or do something in response to their being abusive. That's hard for some people to think that if they're still getting gifts or being talked to in a sweet way.
I know, it gets so confusing. Hot, cold, right? One day the angel, the next day the devil. And that's part of what makes you feel crazy. And if you're feeling crazy and you're feeling up and down and you're on a roller coaster and you're not actually on a roller coaster, chances are
right? No bueno, not good.
No bueno. Let's just say that.
When you were going through hot, cold, up and down roller coaster emotions, there was no pleading and trying to get him to understand you?
I try so hard. And I'm a really good conversationalist, believe it or not. Like, if I'm in the middle of a real debate or I should have been a lawyer. I'm a really good debater. Like, legit, make some really great points. I can break and analyze things down, like, for real. I should have been. But
didn't help you, huh? None of that
never helps. And I'm always like, that's it. Drop the mic.
It was like, no way. You literally dropped the mic. You literally could not get anywhere.
You debate with me because I'm a great debater. Like, that's
didn't help you with the narc though, huh?
No, and I'm looking at like, you got to be out your mind, and the answer is yes, they are out of their mind, but they're not going to admit it, and they're not going to. And it's like you're looking for that validation because you're codependent and you're this and you're that, right? That's me. So I'm looking for him to be like, you know what? You're right. I have been bad. It's almost like you're looking for that.
Never came, did it? I'm gonna read this here. It says, they may start an affair and wait for you to find out about it so that you are the one who wants to leave.
That's the second one right there.
Yeah, the second one was they may covertly give you hints that they aren't interested in you anymore. And then the third one here, they may become so insensitive and trigger meaningless fights that happen so frequently.
That happened to me quite a bit.
Explain.
Meaningless fights. And then I learned about that term with the narcissist called word salad.
Yes, word salad.
Right? That we follow it. I was like, what the heck is that? And I was reading about that. I'm like, that's been happening to me. This word salad.
Wait.
Like,
you had no idea, right? And then you read about this term. You got to tell me, because we never talked about this. When did that happen? Was that after the relationship or somewhere in it?
In it. Like, it happened so many times in it, back and forth.
But you figured out the term word salad when? After you broke up?
Yeah. Like,
and you started remembering everything that happened, didn't you? It started coming back to you.
I was like I'd be sitting by myself going through my little isolation processing period, and I'm just sitting there like,
whoa,
oh my God. Like, just lots of processing, lots of slow, delayed processing. It took a long time.
Okay, I've heard that a lot. That's why I'm kind of tickled pink hearing you say that, because respectfully, I say this to everyone on the planet. Crystal is a very intelligent person. Not that the rest of us are dummies, but Crystal is a very intelligent person. And to hear you talking about this, because you really are, I know there are filters, but you really open up your heart and discuss stuff to help other people. And I really appreciate it. But you really mean this, huh? When you say you could be a lawyer in debate. And I've never heard you say that before.
Oh, yeah.
And I can only imagine you trying to get your point across with a narcissist, which I have not met one yet since we've been doing this a little over 18 months, that has won an argument with them because they find a way to win.
Well, I can tell you, I made it a lot worse because...
Oh, this is going to get good. Go ahead.
Like, because I am like that, even in the middle of me being codependent, whatever, and I would go from being weak to sometimes I'd get really, really strong because I'd get real mad because I can beat a dead horse into the ground deeper than anyone else I know. Like, I'm telling you.
You bury the horse and dig it back up and then do it all over again? Oh,
yeah. Just beating the heck out of the dead horse. I am so good. And my ex... this person that I'm talking about, he's even like, he would flip out at me sometimes and be like, this is why I can't talk to you. You're crazy because you don't stop, because you won't stop. And I'm trying to tell you, you need to stop and stop responding and and you just don't stop. And so you're making me react this way. You're making me do this to you because you won't stop. And I'm like, that's why I won't stop, because, you're treating me like this and talking to me like this. And so that's when I would debate and get my point in there and just repeat it over and over and get mad. And I got angry at the end because I started to know exactly what's been going on and what's happening. And it angers a narcissist so badly for you to do that, because you're making them feel all these feelings they don't want to feel, that they're trying to push down and push away and just escape from any accountability. They're not reliable, no accountability, no truth. And I was just throwing it in his face, mad, trying to make my point and debate. Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, I saw the devil. He just completely, it was amazing how somebody can even like physically transform their face when they're angry. And I have heard and read that from a lot of people too that have dealt with it. If somebody gets
I've heard it too. Yeah.
Angry, like their eyes will change.
Become a totally different person. Totally different person. Yeah.
Like their face, their eyes, like a lot. If they get that angry, I had never seen somebody that angry before in my life. And it's scary sometimes, right? You're just like, you don't know what's going to happen. And it just disrupts your heart and your soul in a way that you couldn't really explain to somebody unless they've experienced it.
So all this word salad that was happening from him, all the arguments, consistent arguments, and then you would be the blame for those arguments. They kind of fit. Let's do this. I'm going to read the next one. It kind of fits to what you were just describing. Let me move this over here so that I can read it. It says, they will intensify blame shifting, calling you things like insensitive and jealous to use them as reasons to justify their actions.
I've been called a lot worse things than that too. I'll tell you right now. That would have been
a lot of blame shifting happened then.
that would have been nice to be called insensitive. Or honestly, what I'm reading right there would have been like a walk in the park. I don't even want to repeat some of the things. Yeah, no. Very extreme. We'll just say that.
How did you
Mind-boggling.
how did you respond? How did you respond when you were in those moments? You were pushed to the brink, weren't you?
I was. I think it's almost like somebody is about to destroy you or watch you destroy yourself. And I came really close to nearly destroying myself in a lot of different ways. And feeling that, just that's what I'm talking about when you start to put yourself back together afterwards, because you're not quite the same. But then you can find yourself and piece it back together. You have to put yourself back together because you were just burned to the ground. And he like watched it. And you would think eventually somebody would be like, you know what? Dang, let me just reach out a hand or be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push you that. Like, oh, geez. But it was never, there was not a care in the world. It was just more like, I don't care that you're in that place, or that, you know, like it's your fault that you're there. Like nobody cares.
A painful experience to try to wrap your brain around, right? That this person that you're with literally didn't care.
Yeah, that is the heartbreaking parts when you start breaking your own heart, because you're like, I have given all this time, energy, attention, love to this person, and I'm still doing it right now for some weird reason, thinking they're going to come to, everything's going to be better. They're going to admit they're wrong, at least. Even if we break up, at least they're going to admit something or give me a piece, like you said, a piece of a heart, a piece of an empathy, just a little like shred of it. I just wanted like a shred to show that he was a human being, and I never got a shred of it. Yeah. It was really sad. There was a little faking. There was a little like lying and fake. I saw the acting at the end where he would make himself cry or acting and that kind of, and I could see it at that point. It was like, oh wow, this is fake. This is a fake person or being fake to me right now. And it was so sad. And I called him out on everything towards the end. Like I would be like, I don't need your crocodile tears. And he was like, he didn't know what that meant, because really good at English, but he's Spanish or from a Spanish speaking country, but he'd been here a long time. He didn't know that term, and he had to like, he's like, what does that mean? I was like, why don't you Google it, because I can't help you anymore.
Did you get to that point where you recognized you couldn't help anymore?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's what erupted all of the extreme anger and fights towards the end, because I'm experiencing that anger of myself, of him, of the situation, and just showing my anger and like, I have a voice on me, even through all my weak times. And eventually it's going to come out. Like, I'm not going to stay in that place forever.
Right. Yeah. And you haven't, right? You haven't. It's obvious. Look where you are now. You become a social media giant. You know, you went on Instagram and now you're on YouTube, and you got your new channel you're going to be starting, and all the people you're going to be connecting with. And
because you found me on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to say, you just totally like kick Twitter to the curb. You go like, God, those are baby boys. I'm going to YouTube now.
True.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking.
You know,
all the people on Twitter will go like, hey. Yeah,
I like Twitter. I've been reading a lot of other things on there lately, like how to make money, like some wealth making people too. I'm like retweeting some of that. Yeah.
There you go. See, stuff that you would have never been thinking about when you were dealing with a person who wanted to discard you. Okay, I got to read the next two here, and then we're gonna let you get back to you. Ain't got no time for no messing with no people. You ain't got no time for that, girl. Okay, so they will run a smear campaign against you and convince your mutual friends and family that you are the one who is crazy. And the last one is, they'll make you feel that they are hurt because of your jealousy or oversensitivity and unstable behavior. Okay, have fun with both of those there.
Have fun. I can have fun with it now. Yeah, like the last one for sure. Oh, they're hurting. Like, if you come to them, I would try to treat it like a regular relationship and be like, hey, like, I'm really feeling like this. Can we talk about it? And it was like a pretend put on thing. Like, yeah, we'll talk about it. oh, we talked about it, we're done, and now I'm just going to keep acting like that and doing whatever I want. And a
No
reminder,
change. No change at all. Huh?
right? A reminder, hold you accountable. Hey, this is hurting me. And it was like, how dare you? You are hurting. How, like, you know, it's like you're dealing with a toddler, you're dealing with an emotional toddler, somebody who has not been emotionally fully developed. And once you realize that, then all of this stuff will make sense. Because in the meantime, I kept trying to treat it like a regular relationship, like I'm communicating and I'm awesome because I'm really gonna communicate with you and ask you questions.
I'm working on my relationship. I'm really doing
Yeah.
this. We're gonna be a team. No way, huh?
Yeah, it's a team of one, and that's you, not them. So just play individual sports. Just get used to it because you're by yourself. You're
by yourself. Now, when you were by yourself trying to make this relationship work, oh my goodness, I got to ask you this one. You're in this relationship. You're trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Did you think to yourself that if you just try one more time, you did?
Like, you know, all your questions are like spot on, of course. I'm like, yes.
One more time. He's going to get it. One more time.
And
if I say it differently.
I would treat it like a child sometimes, which is sad. I'd be like, okay, and you're famous as a codependent for, here's my boundary. And then crossing over it. Okay, let me redraw the boundary one more time because obviously you didn't see it
the first time.
You didn't understand
the first 700
right?
times that I did.
Yeah.
Right.
Like maybe you didn't really get it because you wouldn't have done that. Obviously, like that's terrible. And that would mean you don't give a crap about me, let alone love me. So let me redraw the boundary. Here we go. Here. And you do that over and over and you start and then you start learning. Yeah. And learning about this and going, oh my God, this is what's happening. But the final countdown, like you do that and it's almost like an ultimatum for a lot of people. And that's kind of like what I did, but not saying it was an ultimatum, but it kind of was. And it's not going to work, obviously. And I try to do that by like, if you don't go to therapy and do this and it doesn't get better within a month's time of this, then I'm done because, you know, I did one of those.
How many times you do that?
One time, but it was like you promised me that you were gonna do therapy. It was like 2 months before that. For the past 2 months, there was promises of going to therapy, but it's during the holidays. This is happening. There's always an excuse. First of all, there's always a flipping excuse. Don't take any excuses. So don't be understanding. Like, just don't look at their actions and that's it. Not excuses and no understanding language and none of that because
not the words.
No.
Words going to get you nowhere.
No, like if you want to be about words, go write a book, be an author. You know, that's what.
Go write a book. Be about.
And you will if you go through this. I think we're all going to be sitting down writing a book if we haven't already.
You know how many books there will be written if everyone starts to do it?
Yeah.
Relatively at the same time. There will be no end to the amount of books that will be written by people who have been abused by narcissistic, toxic individuals, self-absorbed people. You have not written a book yet, have you?
No, I have not. I was just about to say all the ebooks and e-content, even if it's not a book, the e-content makes it easy. So I could totally start with like articles and e-content and stuff like that first.
Is this a part of the crystal tease? Is this the tease that you're putting out there?
Is that coming or not? I don't know.
Oh no, this is so much for me.
We're not sure yet. You'll have to check it out at the Crystal Tease.
There you go. Now you're catching. Now you're learning how to plug the stuff. There you go. That was good. You're gonna have to step over to the Crystal Tease to see exactly how that's going to go today. I don't know. I'm just screaming into the mic. All right, listen. I have enjoyed doing this with you. I know that you gave of your time because you have so many things much more important than hanging out with me and doing this.
I don't think so.
You are a hit. You are a hit on Narc Abuse TV Instagram, and I'm quite sure people are going to find you at the Crystal Tease to be another hit. Everybody's going to go like, what is this tease thing all about? But that's what we're doing right now. This marketing tease is being brought to you by Narc Abuse TV. All right. So anyhow, I love it when you come on and when we do shows. I really do. And I've enjoyed conversations with you because you have a lot of great ideas that are going to help a lot of people. And you're just now stepping out of your uncomfortable zone into your comfort zone.
I don't know how comfortable I ever am, but that's just me. I thrive on being slightly uncomfortable at all times.
That should be a shirt or a book right there. You
It
thrive
keeps,
being
you know why?
slightly uncomfortable.
Because it keeps the edge. It keeps your edge on. It's true. For career, for personal, whatever. Like when I'm at work, I'm like, I better keep my edge on so I, keep alert and fresh, and I
Edge,
don't want
huh?
to be too
Okay. All
comfortable.
right. Here we go. We're going to end the show by doing this. Here it comes. You want your edge, so I'm going to give you your edge. Here we go.
Ooh, okay.
Everyone that normally comes on with me, I don't know, 300 and some odd guests in the past year, have 2 seasons done. They trust me. So the swivel queen from Twitter here will trust me because I'm going to ask you 3 questions now that you have no idea that I have set aside for you, just in case we had some more time left. And we do. We've gone 57 minutes, and we've given a good idea of what the narc abuse coach had in mind about talking about toxic relationships and discarding. Been able to share that information that you sent over to me. I like that. We're going to do many more shows together. However, right now, 3 questions. You ready?
Sure.
Okay. So when you woke up today, what was on your mind?
Oh God, that is scary stuff. No, probably. Oh God, because today I woke up really early and I hit the snooze for over an hour. So it was like 5 a.m. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get up early and get all of these things done, do all this, and then I was laying there and I was like, that's a little early. I don't really think it's necessary to do that today. Wait, what's going on today? Today's Friday. Oh, that's right. I'm not going to be on YouTube Live talking to Pax until 4 p.m. ish, and I don't have to do this until. So you know what? I can just look at all that stuff later, and I can do this. So that's kind of like my brain. Can you imagine all those thoughts right away, first thing in the morning, like that?
Which is exactly why I wanted to ask this question of you on YouTube Live,
Disturbing.
because everyone gets to see the crystal tease and the thinking behind it and how she wakes up in the morning. Okay, question number 2. There's 3 questions. We did number 1, what was on your mind when you woke up this morning? And now we are getting an idea of your brain. Now, question number 2. When you were, are you ready? Okay. When you were younger, a decade ago, 10 years ago, take a moment, reflect on that. Since we're coming to the end of the show, 3 spontaneous questions, but not really. I already know I was going to ask you these 3. Here we go. A decade ago, when you were younger, would you consider yourself back then the prize, the gift, or a trophy? The prize, the gift, or the trophy?
Look at me,
trophy.
I'm like writing it down.
You crack me up. You just crack me up.
Today is a visual day after reading.
Yeah, obviously, yes. I know you like visuals. Okay, so are you ready? Which one of those?
I was in a place actually where I was the trophy because I was going through a brief time where I was coming into like, I don't want to get too personal, but we'll just say I went through a brief relationship where I came out of my marriage, right? But I went through a brief relationship where I was like a lot younger than this man, like 20 years his junior. And so
Okay.
I felt like a trophy. So whenever you say that age range, I'm like, oh my God, that's when I was, discovering things about myself and learning. That was the first time I had like dated somebody as an adult because I was so much younger when I settled down. I was like a teenager
Okay.
when I settled down with the man I married. So I was like a trophy. Literally, just a trophy girlfriend.
You woke up this morning with a number of things on your mind and decided that they all could wait. A decade ago, when you were younger, you were the trophy. Last question. 10 years from now,
Oh,
If you woke up in the morning,
Oh God.
would you be a trophy, a gift, or the prize?
No, I'll be a gift. And that's true.
That's true. Why would you be the gift 10 years from now before we're going to end this show here? Tell everybody across the world, YouTube is global, across the world, why you,
Chef's kiss.
the crystal tease, would be the gift.
Gift.
Why?
Because I am learning so much since 10 years ago, and I can give so much more now than I could 10 years ago.
Good.
And I'm like, wow, no matter what. And now I know I don't need anybody, whether I'm with somebody or not romantically.
Awesome.
I know I'm finally okay. Like, thank God. So I can be that gift to myself, to my son, to my family, my friend, whoever's in my life, but mostly to myself. Just like I'm going to encourage everybody out there. And it's so cliche. We've been hearing it our whole life. You got to love yourself. You got to be there for you. It's true. Yeah. But you have to discover what that means for you.
Right. Bingo.
Nobody can tell you that. You have to figure that out and learn that. So,
nope, go ahead.
Let's encourage each other and link arms.
We are the one. Okay. So
yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that on Friday, a lot of people may not know this who have never watched these shows before on Instagram. Friday is my goofy day. I am the goofiest on a Friday on purpose since I was a little child. At least when my parents were alive, they told me that. So I stick to it. It is my fun day. So cute. I wanted to make sure when I got to do a show today, in the afternoon, we did in the afternoon, or if I was going to start a show on Friday, it was going to be with Crystal, because I knew I could just sit here and be goofy and laugh, because this is free TV. And if somebody don't like it, they can change the channel and go watch something else. So because you truly have a loving heart and you are doing the best that you can as a mom, making choices and decisions with the best resources that you can muster up and do what you can for your son. He's getting an exemplary person in his life that he can call mom, because you're an example setter for him, not allowing anything negative and traumatic to hang around to influence him. You've done some great choices, but do you think you made the right choice by doing any shows with me?
Heck yeah. Best choice ever. Hashtag best choice ever.
You crazy.
This is like my best life choice yet. So.
Well, I don't know. The YouTube channel and podcast coming and some others. There you go. There's some other choices. Well, look, I'm always wishing the best for you. This will probably be the last show, of course. Well, this will be the last show that I will be doing with you this year, but we will be putting our brains together and putting some stuff together, because when 2022 comes along, we're gonna do some more work together. Excuse me. Look, I'm getting choked up talking about it. We're gonna do some more work together, and thank you for doing this. I know the effort that you put into being a part of these shows. You're really good at this stuff.
You're really good at this.
No.
I'm really glad
just a man with a mic.
Me.
Oh, hey,
I was ready to be found.
Which, you know what? Discovered is a good way to describe. I'm glad I discovered the beauty of who you are as a person. You're a really good person. Now get out there and help some people, doggone it. As I tell everybody comes on my show.
That's a nice way to say that.
Oh, help some people, doggone it. Like an old man, like I am. Okay, listen, my friend, I will see you soon. Have a good Friday. Everybody else, please go to the Crystal Tease. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. That's a channel you need to be a part of and watch it grow. I'm going to give you all the support that I can, and I look forward to you being a regular here on Narc Abuse TV Network. Okay, that was good.
You're awesome.
Right. I'll see you later, my friend. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good weekend. We'll see everybody later. Thanks, Crystal. You're awesome.